One and nine. What is up, brother? How's it going, my man?
How we doing?
Dude, thank you so much for taking the time, man. This is radical. We could not be more happy.
The perfect hour to talk to me, I guess.
Dude, absolutely beautiful. Tell us about the poster in the backdrop, brother.
This?
Yeah.
It's a Sinead O'Connor poster. It's just fire as hell. It just looks tight. It was actually an old roommate of mine. He left it here, and then when he finally asked for it, I was like, "Dude, I'm not shipping this to you."
So sick. God damn. Dude, it's kind of a preface to this is like Jeremy and I talking about, the collection of just like work that you have, under wraps, my guy. And, even aside from the things that we had on the flyer there, just an absolute ripper, man. And Jeremy's the lucky cat here. He's gotten to see you with Fugitive live. So, I mean, even on his recollection, Jeremy, what do you got to say about my guy Victor here?
Like seriously, just like rip's the right word, right? Like and digging in, and I was saying before we got on here, like it's cool doing this show because I knew Fugitive, but digging into Vaaska's, is it Vaaska's or Vaaska's?
Vaaska. It's like
Vaaska.
Made up word. But one time at Emo's, they spelled it out as Vasquez. Like they misspelled the name as Vasquez. I mean, it might have been one of our friends that made the write-up sheet, but either way, at some point, like as a joke, everyone just started chanting Vasquez, Vasquez. That's hilarious. So I love it. People are like, "Is it Vasquez?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, bro!"
Yeah, sick band. But just digging into that, like I wasn't familiar with that stuff, so that shit rips. But yeah, I mean, I remember seeing that. So I was lucky enough to catch you guys at Psycho in Vegas.
That was a fun show.
And that was rowdy. That was in that little like saloon. And that was like rowdy as hell.
That was our second show ever.
That was right after Wrecking Ball, right?
Yeah. That was our second show.
But that was tight as hell. But I gotta say, my man, when I caught you in Dallas on that Metallica weekend, you guys played that, dude. Like every band, I just felt like starting with Tribal Gaze, moving on. I was like, it gets better and better. Then y'all came on, and I was like, I gotta just tell you, dude. I don't know how after seeing all those bands, like your tone, I was just like, holy hell. I still was just like I don't know. So like I got a lot of. I'll just say this much. I have a lot of questions about some tone shit.
Oh, dude,
if you're ready.
They all have really quick, easy answers. I guarantee.
Even better, man. Even better. But we'll get there. But I just got to say, my man, like that tone, like you just ripping. I was just like, this shit rips.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I just, it's really just a soft tech and a tube screamer. That's like the main thing of the tone, And then that's what I use for pretty much every band. And it's just like a difference in guitars and like, of course, recording, you experiment a little more, but every recording I've been on has had the same Les Paul, which is like it's one of it's like the one they always paint Bob Marley with, you know what I mean? With like the 2 feet. It's one of those. But that's I got it when I was like 17 and I use it on every single record.
Melody Maker?
It's a double pickup one, so it's got a pick guard.
Okay.
It's like a regular Les Paul shape. They're like
gotcha.
But
gotcha.
Yeah, I've had that for a long ass time. That goes on every record. Just like
that's sick.
That's
sick. No, but seriously, the tone that night for sure, I was like, this is dialed in. Like it sounded so good.
Thanks. Good. I'm glad. That's what we hope happens when we go up there.
What is the bad boy that you got going with the? I don't know if I want to say it's like almost like a lava crack. Is it like a neon yellow? The guitar.
It's actually this thing. It's like a gold.
Fuck, dude.
Crackle. It's actually like it's like a reissue. Like they made I think Jackson just like did them again somewhat recently. And funny thing about that guitar is I was just kind of like looking for guitars on Reverb and I found that one and I bought it. I was like just to buy it. And then Blake hit me up and was like, "Yo, do you want to play in Fugitive?" And I was like, "Well, I guess that's the guitar I'll play in Fugitive."
That's awesome.
Sick.
Yeah, it was really like the day I bought it off Reverb. He was like, "Yo, what's up?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah."
Damn.
It was meant to be. It's meant to be.
You know, I'm a cat that I love to see, you know, like traditional, you know, the SGs or just a Black Jackson or, you know, just whatever the fuck. But every once in a while, when you see a bad boy like that, you're like, man.
It took a little like getting used to, because I've been playing, like I said, that same Les Paul my whole life in every band. So it's like a brown, it's just like a hunk of wood. It looks like shit. So it took some getting used to, like having like a nice, you know, kind of like it's like kind of like having like a sports car or something. You're like, I don't need this all the time, but
yeah,
I've gotten really attached to it, and then I've gotten really like obsessed with having guitars with Floyd Roses on them, just because it was something new for me at the time. Like I hadn't really messed with them a whole lot, and it was just like a new world. You know, like you've been playing guitar for a long time. It's like something new is like really exciting. Just anything at all you can get that's new, you're like, oh fuck yeah, dude. I need it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that rules. Like is maybe even dialing back a little bit, like prior to being overly familiar with guitar or anything. You know, just kind of like an early memory of you and having like a relativity to music. Where's that early memory come into, you know, like having an interest in general of a player or a band in general?
I think literally when my brother and cousin both kind of like unknowingly simultaneously showed me Metallica, like straight up. Like I know that's like a generic story, but it's Metallica. You know, like I'm 36. Like at the time, that shit was you know. It was popping, you know, and like I mean, it's fire. Like I love Metallica, I always will. But that was definitely it. It was Kirk Hammett was definitely the first guitar player I truly was like, you know, like
yeah.
I was just like, what?
So what Metallica album? Like what was your like Metallica gateway album?
Dude, definitely like I was like when I learned about it, I was like Load era, like Reload era, like
let's go.
Shit, really?
That was like the first thing I was able to go buy in the stores. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I could go to Hastings, but at that time, my parents were like only taking me to like Walmart or like Target. So like, like I had heard other Metallica and like that, but I was like, oh my god, there's a Metallica CD in the store, and it was fucking Load, of course.
Hey, I'll stand by Load and Reload. I will stand by those albums to this day.
Fire, dude. I had no clue. Same time, like going to Walgreens and buying like a Hanson tape and like not knowing the big difference between, you know, what's badass, you know.
I mean, was that like? What were standout moments to that? You know, as far as like the Load and Reload, because that's kind of a hot take as far as for Metallica, but that's also one of those things.
Well, those are just the first ones I like owned and like got to listen to as much as I wanted. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But of course, the faves are like, you know, the big three. You know.
But you know, the thing is, though, I think even Jeremy's and maybe all three of us will agree too. Like when you listen to those records, there are moments like. There's I would even say tracks to where like there's some good shit on both of those records. Like even to this day, not the earlier stuff, but there's cool shit.
Those guys have put out some questionable material, of course. You know, but they're still the guys, so they've got what it takes, and they have like the sensibilities to make great riffs and stuff. But you know, there's just some like direction issues there. So like. There's always going to be good riffs on the Metallica record. There's always going to be something cool because it's the guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Tank, they've been doing it for a long time, so respect. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, and what like a wraparound moment too for you guys to get announced with those, you know, that line of shows. Did that end up happening as far as you guys getting to play?
We played that Southside Ballroom thing, but we didn't play. We were supposed to play like a tailgate party for the night that we were going to go see the gig, and I guess the heat warning was too high. And
that's right. Okay.
Too high for like, you guys will die if you play the parking lot.
It was miserable. It was miserable that weekend.
Canceled that, but Metallica was really cool, and they paid us for that anyway.
Oh,
and
shit.
they ticket seats you could get to go see them. Like, so that was just, that in and of itself was like just amazing because they were really cool about it, and the seats were crazy, and like getting to see them like that up close was just wild. You know what I mean? Like a childhood thing, you know, for all of us. It was like wild to see them like that, and you're like, it's cool. And of course, seeing Pantera was badass. It was just Phil Anselmo walked out with the craziest style, just like two cut off shirts. One on top of the other.
When one's just not enough.
I was just like, that's fucking sick. Like, it's awesome. But I was barefoot too, and I was just like, this is walking like he had made a pilgrimage barefoot before he got to the stage. You know?
He'd made it to Mecca finally.
Oh.
He was there.
Oh, fuck, man. That's so funny.
Shout out for that. Was just like one of the sickest weekends of my life for sure. And then we had our hospitality make us like a bit, or like the hospitality for the show make a giant sandwich for us, which was probably the coolest part of the weekend. Dude. I wish I could like pull up a photo of it, but it was, the thing was just magnificent. It was insane, and we were kind of like, oh, I didn't think you guys were gonna do this, and we felt kind of bad, but the girls were like, yo, this is the most fun we've had like in a while at the job.
Yeah.
You know, of course not in there.
Yeah. Dude.
But really cool about it. It was really fun. I got to talk about a sandwich, you know. Love that.
I mean, that's still so sick though. Like, even like, you know, you mentioned as far as things not quite going as planned, but you know, I mean, everybody's still being hospitable about the situation, and like, what a rad wraparound moment too. You know, I mean, you mentioned, you know, Metallica early on, and then having even that. I mean, like, insane, mind blowing.
Yeah, that's wild. It is crazy, but you know,
what about? What about, I mean, as far as like, you know, you discovering early on live music, you know, you kind of, you know, developing this interest, does Texas have a scene, you know, kind of when you were coming up as far as anything local? How are you discovering live shows?
That actually, like, that is funny because I grew up in South Texas, like, so I'm from like the border. Like,
okay.
So I'm from the Rio Grande Valley, so I'm from McAllen, Texas, and even back then, there was like a pretty, you know, pretty formidable scene back then. Like, there was a lot of people who went to shows, even people that, since there wasn't a whole lot to do down there in general growing up, even people that weren't interested in punk or anything alternative would go to the show every weekend just because that's what there was to do, you know? And like, later in high school, everything was at the VFW, so like all the shows are at the VFW hall. Like, even if a touring band came through, it was like VFW, you know? Which is just hilarious because it's like veterans and then like older people and like high school kids literally just all intermingling, being like ridiculous. Is really funny. But the first place I ever went to like a punk show was this skate shop. This guy Ralphie had a place called Ralphie Skate Shop, and in the back he had a skate park and then this tiny like laundry room sized area, and he called it, like, he painted it all stupid, and it was like called like the sanitarium because obviously he was a huge Metallica fan. We loved that shit in the 6, you know. And I think the first band I ever saw was this band called All Choked Up that actually a good friend of mine used to play with. Like, he was like my best friend's older brother, this guy AJ Maloney, and he's the one that like told us about this band. And my friend had like a little tape. Actually, he's the drummer for Rigorous Institution. We grew up together, and gave me a tape. He was like, dude, my brother has this mix of these bands from here. And then he's like, one of them's playing at Ralphie's this weekend, and that was like the first show I ever went to go watch. And like some other pop punk bands at the time that were like kind of popular. I think there was this band called Ink Bag that I think is actually still somewhat active today. That's been around since the 90s, and they were like, you know, kind of grungy pop punk kind of guys, you know. But that was definitely the first thing I saw with those bands. Definitely on some pop punk skateboarder too.
That's awesome. God.
That was, I mean, it was like, dude, this is tight. So I was like, everyone's just hopping around, and like, I don't know, like I remember even then being like like pop punk, like not feeling punk to me. I was like, this is fun, but I just I thought punk was like harder.
Yeah.
Right.
Some older kids showed me like, like, well, basically made me buy records of theirs that they were selling.
Okay.
Bro, it's badass.
I mean, did that develop? No, go ahead. Sorry.
Cool, like trying to sell me some, Discord shit.
Right. But I mean, was that like more in developing to seeing bigger shows, or was this like a, I want to go to every local show that there is?
Yeah, that was kind of it. I wanted to know everything that was out there, and the thing is, my first like big show was Judas Priest and Anthrax, and that is what made me want to play guitar at a certain level. You know what I mean? Because punk, I was like, oh, I love like just the rebelliousness of it, and the music is cool and fun, But seeing like KK Downing just made, and also he only threw one pick out that night, and I caught that shit, and I had it. My mom still has it at her house, but like, yeah, like waited outside his bus and stuff for like my friends and their stepdad or whatever, and got their signatures. But
that's badass.
Made me want to get into it, like really made me care about like shredding or whatever.
Shit, man, that's so sick. Is that like, was it before that moment, or was that right around where you end up picking up guitar? This is going to be Jeremy's wheelhouse, where like the whole guitar thing.
Yeah,
I hear it and know it, but when it comes to strings and fucking plugins, I'm like, yeah, dude, it sounds cool, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, there's not much to it, man. You just gotta put your head down and practice. get mileage out of your gear, Yeah. Dude, some elbow grease. That's
elbow grease.
That's it. Okay. Was that right around you getting your first guitar then?
Yeah, actually, I got my first guitar pretty young. I want to say it around like 10, but I didn't really like do anything with it. I just had wanted one, or I wanted to play drums, but like my dad and mom were separated. But like my dad was like, "No way, your mom's gonna hate that." My mom was like, "Hell no, you're not playing drums." I was like, "Bet, all right." And they bought me like a classical guitar, but I wanted to play like metal already, but I had no idea like how. So I got a classical guitar, and I was just like, "Man, fuck this, it sucks." I wanted to learn how to play guitar, so my mom was like, "Fine, I'll try to get you guitar lessons." Wrong. She took me to the church choir teacher, and like I was then forced to be in like the church choir playing guitar. I had no fucking idea what I was doing, but like there was this like flute player lady that had like this, and she was so mean to me, bro. Like, I almost traumatized my ass. I was like, I feel like a fucking fool. Like, I'm never playing music again. So I didn't play the guitar for a while, and then like.
So what you're telling us is you're a real one. Like you faced all that. Like you should have just hated guitar, but like I'm done with this shit. Like this shit sucks. People lie.
Like what the fuck else am I gonna do? I was like, I had no other. You know how they say like kids have great imagination? Nah, bro. I was like, what? Like, what am I gonna do? I was like, I have to get good at this. It's like I was just like, I don't know what else to do, dude. But I gotta do it. And then I fucked off for a while and just did kid stuff, And then like around like middle school, like I think like 8th grade is when I really like started practicing, like sitting down and like learning stuff. And I never really got into like learning other people's songs at that time because in high school I started doing like classical music, and that was kind of took up all my learning song stuff. So I wasn't really big into like learning other band songs at a time, which is now I'm really into it. But when I was young, I didn't really do that. I was like really kind of focused with wanting to make something that was like, I like wanted to start a band immediately. You know what I mean?
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Band, even like if I sucked, I was like, I want to be in a band really bad.
Damn.
Gotcha.
And then I ended up like starting a band in like high school with like a bunch of like lifelong homies. But that shit was like math rock, dude. It was like I sang and played guitar. It was like I with like DC emo, but mathy.
Okay.
Bro, like if I did that band now, that shit would be popping, dude, for sure.
You were ahead of the
Did that last
curve. You were ahead of the curve.
Dude. It really fucking affected my wallet, man.
I mean, did that band last a little bit? Like, was that something that like kind of hung out for a minute or what?
It was just like 3 years in high school, pretty much. And
Still,
then like,
though, I mean, even 3 years today, shit, yeah. That's a long time.
And then like, after everyone graduated, everyone was like, "What do you mean, stay a band?" What? And I went to college for a bit, and it was like, nah. Like I came to Austin to come to school, and then like I like met some people and like started talking to them about what I was like going to school for, and they were just like, "Dude, you're not gonna make any money, and you're gonna be in debt forever." And I was just like, that. So I didn't go back to school, and I just.
Where was that dude at when I was going to college? Like, where was he at? What the hell, man?
I was impressionable. I was just like, this fool's right, bro. I'm just gonna rock and thug it out. You know? Millionaires, you know what I mean?
Fuck.
You know the creative to broke pipeline. You know?
Oh yeah.
There was.
God, dude. I mean, like, it seems like you've really faced all of the trials, you know, to have somebody, you know, even in an interview situation, they're like, you know what, I ended up deciding to go into film because guitar absolutely sucked ass and I wanted nothing to do with it. You know, like, I feel like that's kind of your story, but you went over, you know, that limit and that threshold. And you overcame, I would say, for sure.
Are you singing a Hate Breed song right now?
Huh?
Like so, I think half.
I think everything Eric just said was a Hate Breed song.
Yeah, I think that was half of that was Hate Breed lyrics. I apologize, yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing that makes all that seem like nothing at all is just like making sure that you're in bands with your friends. Like,
man,
that makes it not feel like an issue at all. Because like you'll go on a tour where like you come back with dog shit money and like half your gear is like barely working, but you had such a good time. You're just like, damn,
those memories.
Like, even thinking about any of the other stuff, you're like, that was just like the coolest shit. And you'd hope that you'd remember all of it, but you don't. It's just like you just don't. Write stuff down.
Yeah. Take some notes, you know, jot this down. I mean, where is that point then as far as that you start seeing like shows and you start seeing things kind of picking up to where like that's, you know, a little bit more of a focus for you?
Come again?
Where's that moment, you know, as opposed to, you know, like so that initial band, you know, you're kind of finding yourself in, you know, playing guitar a little bit more, not doing the vocals or anything like that. And you know, you're figuring out that you're playing guitar a little bit more in bands and playing more shows, traveling, you know, touring, that type of shit.
That kind of came about, I guess, like maybe 2 years after high school, or like a year and a half after high school, because pretty much immediately when I moved to Austin, same dude, drummer from Rigorous Institution, had moved into his brother's house, and he was like, dude, there's going to be a room opening up. You're not doing shit in the Valley. Like, come up here. You can start a band like this. And I was like, fuck it. I had really no reason to stay. I was just really wanted to make that city cool or like have like a scene, but I just wasn't able to, you know? And then so I come to Austin. Pretty much the first week, Eddie from Vaaska, the singer for Vaaska, he was like, hey, you want to play bass in this band? And he was like, AJ's going to play guitar, Ryan's going to play drums, and I'll sing. And I was like, okay. So we started just going to see those, but pretty quickly they switched me to guitar. And then I played guitar in that band for the rest of the time being. And that was more like dark punk, kind of gothy shit. Like, there are the records are floating out there somewhere. There's some. But, and then... And we started Vaaska because our drummer, Ryan, went on tour with The Young. I don't know, it was this band that was on Matador for a while. So he went on tour with The Young, and we decided to... Oh, no, Sacred Shock went on tour, my bad. Something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. Somebody went on tour in our band, and we just decided to make, like, a quick D-beat band for fun. Like, we were just like, let's just record a demo. We'll just blast it out in like a cinder block practice space because like we had one of those like garage door cinder block practice spaces that had nothing in it, just like a light in the middle and outlets. And we recorded it in there with like the door half open. And like the engineer was outside, like in like just like exposed in the outside with like this, you know,
what the fuck?
688, that's Tascam 688. I think I actually own that same 688 now that I think of it. I bought it from him, and I kind of, but yeah, and it like we just did it like that. Everything pretty much a couple takes, no overdubs, anything like that. And that was the demo. And then our first show ended up being some like book release for like, I think it was called like Punk is Something, Punk is Everything. It was like a photo book, you know, had a bunch of different, and then we just decided to keep being a band. And that, I think Vaaska, Desconocidos did a couple tours, but I think Vaaska is when it like, we never did a full just Vaaska tour except the Japan tour. But that was when I realized that like people were willing to like take us places without us having to like tour there, you know, like, and that was kind of cool. Just, and I don't even know how it happened or anything like that. I wouldn't be the person to ask, but yeah, we put out some good D-Beat records. I'm glad, because most D-Beat bands don't have 3 good records. But like,
right.
But you know, so that's I'm really stoked about that. I think that band was really when I started feeling like a guitar guy.
Okay.
You know, because I was like shredding in every song. That's pretty much was my main job. Was like fucking skull, bro. And I would be like half the time, the solos were written the day of recording. Well, actually, every single time. I'm not gonna front. To this day, improv like probably half of the solos live for Vaaska, just because that's the vibe. But some of them, it's like it needs to be the exact thing because it's like fits for the song, you know, especially for some of our later stuff. But some of the more like just kick-ass D-Beat songs, I'm just gonna go wild in the pentatonic scale, you know, like for a while and just like do weird shit. But that's like, I think that guitar really gave me my guitar, or that band really gave me my guitar thing. And then of course Impalers came like slightly after that.
So you'd mentioned Japan. Like, was that your first time traveling out of states as far as, you know, playing the show?
No. Desconocidos, early on, we did like a 6-week
oh shit, okay.
European tour.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, why, dude? Like pretty in like the pretty early stages of like booking tours on the internet, DIY style and stuff like that. It was all pretty much through Eddie's distro, how he met people, and like we met a dude that would drive us, and like I don't know, I didn't really know. I was like really young at the time, and I was just like, I don't know how this is working. I didn't have any money, and we were just in Europe for 6 weeks. It was pretty wild. But that was my first like big out of country tour. But Desconocidos' first tour ever was in Mexico.
Oh shit, okay.
We're so close, we decided to go there first.
And this was all still
and then went there.
What was that? Well, I'm trying to think. What was the site with that you printed out? You know, like the fucking directions to, you know,
MapQuest.
MapQuest. This was like MapQuest days. I take it right?
I think that, yeah, definitely in Mexico it was just Map, and well, you also got to get someone from Mexico to drive you, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get to certain places, just because like some small cities are like in the mountains. You know what I mean? And like you're from America and you don't quite know the lay of the land, you're just going to get lost.
Yeah, right.
Because we're trying to do stuff that was near, because Eddie had all planned it out like to do stuff that was like near cool nature stuff. So like we didn't necessarily hit only big cities, you know. So like money wasn't a concern for that tour. It was just like we're gonna go to cool spots, and we played some like really tiny places, but it was awesome. Like get to see like 7-year-old like chuffing cigs in a drip. You're like, yo, that's fucked up, but
you come back with pictures like that, and people are like, damn, what did you see?
His mom's yelling at him, but only so he doesn't smoke in the house.
I've raised you better.
Yeah, the places we played, like a tortilla, they made tostadas. It was like they just dried tortillas outside, and they like packaged.
Damn.
But like when we played, like at the end of the night, people were like asleep on like that wire bench thing. There was just people were just crashing out there, like, and we knew we were supposed to stay there, but we didn't realize everyone else at the show was also going to pass out there. So,
oh shit!
Wild, like, yeah.
So,
but it was sick, so sick.
It's just like a scramble for a spot. Like, find that and stay there. Like, you ain't taking a shit tonight, brother. You're losing your spot.
We were on some Swedish band called Fifan, and their like roadie guy that they brought, which is like, I don't know why you need a roadie. We have like 7 bands. This dude, he was a super sweet guy, but he really wanted to get cocaine. You know, he's like he really fucking really wanted it, you know. And there was a certain type of looking guy at the show, and I think he started talking to him. And later on, you know, we're all drinking, we're all being irresponsible, just getting hammered. We're like, we're in Mexico. And like everyone's like the end of the night, and like, you know, his friends are like, yo, where's Yona? And we're like, oh no, Yepe. It was this dude Yepe. And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, dude, and some other dude's like, oh, he left with like so and so, and they were like, come on. And they were like, damn, dude, and they were like, we're gonna go get him. They were like, everyone was at the party was like, don't go, just like wait.
Oh man.
He showed back up, and we're like, yo, what's up, dude? Like, what happened? Are you okay? Did you get coke? What? And he goes, no, I went and they came down and they said that the coke dealer had got shot, but so I guess he smoked some crack or whatever, and everything was fine. But, you know, crazy.
So the moral of the story is, why get coke when you can smoke crack?
Yeah, this is insane. You know, I was like maybe 20 or 21 at the time, and I was like, this is out of bounds. I was like, a corner over here.
Oh shit, dude, that's so. I mean, like from there, like you're finding yourself. So you had said that you shortly after find yourself as far as playing with Impalers and doing some traveling with them too, right?
Yeah, we did a couple East Coast tours. We played New York a lot, like just one-offs, like a lot of shows with Warthog and, you know, Crazy Spirit, you know, stuff like that. And we did a couple European jaunts. We did one with this short-lived but amazing New York band called Ajax. That was the sickest. It's like actually Mike Gorup from Warthog was in that band, as well as
oh shit, okay,
our individuals. But we did a European tour with them, and then we did one after a festival that was like kind of crazy. I think we went over there 3 times total in Impalers. It's like it was Ajax, and then we did one after Static Shock, and then nope, just those 2.
No, I mean, did you guys find yourself in some shenanigans, like, you know, in Mexico with Vaaska, as far as, you know, you kind of, you're in this different band, different cats, and you're like, man, there's just nonstop shenanigans on the road. This is how this life is going to be.
I mean, Vaaska stuff is always crazy because we're all just such good homies, and it's not crazy, but it's just everything's funny all the time. Like, I'm the one doing stuff that's funny because like I'm clumsy and I like say stupid shit all the time. Like I spill stuff on myself and then I'm like, oh, what the, you know. One really kind of crazy Vaaska story that involves Mexico is it was Impalers and Vaaska were both playing this fest, and it was actually just a one-off show, but I think it was Born Dead Icons that was also playing, or Born Dead one of those bands.
What?
But they were.
We'll edit it in, you know what I'm saying?
And we were in like our little green room, and we're like smoking like this like super brick ass weed, just like because we had so much of it. We're like, dude, we're just gonna hit crazy joints. And we're like drinking a bunch, just like we had like Vaaska had already played, and Impalers had already played. Headliner was going on, so it was time for us to kick back. And they weren't letting like certain people in that didn't have tickets, so people started like trying to break the fence down, and then we're in there and we're like laughing. was crazy. And then people started trying to set the building on fire. And then we were like, whoa. Like, for a minute, we were still laughing. Honestly, it took us way too long to understand. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like, yo, like, we're just like, no, we're gonna fucking die. And then we were like, what? Is there a back exit? And they were like, no, there's just that front exit.
Whoa.
And we were just like,
oh,
like we're like, what? And
yeah.
Ended up fine.
Well, you're already in a blaze. You know what I'm saying? Why not?
Oh, shit, we got a Hood and Olsh in the chat now. What's up?
Now, you're mentioning at one point something to do with the second, I think, practice with Impalers. What was so notable here?
What about the Impalers practice story?
Yeah.
Hey, this one's so bad because it's the funniest thing in the world. Yo, what's up, Olsh? Damn, what's up? He's in the story. I'm gonna take that real quick. Oh, what's up? So I think Impalers. Well, first, let me preface this with how, because Olsh is the man. He's here. I'll preface this with how I ended up in Impalers. So Vaaska practice had finished, and me and Eddie heard what we didn't know at the time was Impalers. We heard him practicing, and Eddie was like, "Oh fuck, fool! It sounds like Celtic Frost." And I was like, "Bad." And then like the demo came out not that long after it, and I was like walking around the house I lived in at the time, and was just like, "Fuck, Spain's fuck so much better in my band." And then like literally like around that moment, Olsh calls me. He's like, "Hey, what's up? You want to play guitar in Impalers?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah."
That's cool about it. No big deal.
I was working at this pizza place, like this place called Austin's Pizza. It's like really dog shit pizza, dude. But I had this like special pizza I would make for practice for the homies. It was like the Gutierrez special. Olsh named it that. And I would use this like spice mix that I had made for myself, like it was my little spice mix, you know. So I'm putting the finishing touches on this pizza, and we're counting up. It's just me and the manager, and then I don't hear anything, and my manager like sticks his head back in the window, and he's like, "Yo, did you fucking hear that?" And I was like, "No." I was like boxing the pizza up, about to cut it, and I was like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And then so I'm boxing up the pizza, I'm about to turn off the lights, grabbing my iPhone, whatever. My manager comes back in, he goes, "I think your friend just drove into the side of the restaurant." And I was like, "What?" So I go outside, and I have the pizza, and Joel, who is the original bass player, goes, "Ooh, pizza," and opens it and takes the slice before I even can process what's going on. And Olsh had accidentally driven inside of the restaurant. Very like, he stopped it, but like I guess he was trying to talk to Mike or someone that was behind him, maybe, and he like pressed the gas instead of the brake and went to the side of the building, you know.
Oh,
it was
shit.
Like, it was pretty funny. That was our second practice.
Oh no.
Me and Olsh had already been kind of chilling a little bit, but like, yeah, it was probably I was like, these guys are gonna be my friends forever.
What was that, a wrap on the pizza job, the pizza career there, or were they pretty cool about it? Were they chill?
I worked there for a bit longer because then I started working at the one on campus, and sometimes I would run into Olsh would come in to get a slice of pizza sometimes, and I would talk to him there and stuff. I worked at that job for way too long, honestly.
Okay.
I came back from one of the European tours I had done, and they were like, "Do you even care?" And I was like, "Guess not." And I just I was like, "Oh, this place sucks." They tried to be flexible, but they were just stupid.
Oh, dude, that's so sick, dude. I'm looking at the time. So one thing I didn't realize, and Jeremy, right? Let's pick right up, doggy. God damn it, I didn't want to cut this off, like I said. Jeremy had some interesting intel here, from this last question. What were you just touching on, my guy?
So you said that place was dog shit pizza, right? And you said you worked there for far too long, so it made me think. I'm just wondering, like, was that the shittiest job Like, is there a shittier job? And then I got a follow up to that about we got to talk pizza after that too. So well, hold on. I'll just tell you all at once. Actually, shittiest job, best pie. Like shittiest job, best pie. Because I had dog shit pizza and when it was a job you worked too long. I want best pie, shittiest job.
Shittiest job ever
that you've ever had.
Fuck, dude, I've worked a lot of shitty jobs. They're all food related. So I cooked for a long ass time. I did ramen. I did all types of stuff, you know. But I think the very last job I had right before the pandemic hit was maybe the worst one. But I quit before the pandemic, so. But it was just. I'm not even gonna say what it was or anything. But it was just like they hired me to run the kitchen program, but wouldn't do anything that I told them that we needed to do. So it was just I was forced to just try to figure everything out all the time.
Damn it.
It was just real stupid, and then I quit, and then they closed the kitchen for that restaurant or for that business down or whatever. And then I just was like, oh, I'm not doing that. But I think that was the one just out of sheer having to deal with stupid shit all the time, you know, because most jobs suck anyway, but you clock in and you clock out, and most of those things aren't really your responsibility. But you know, at that point, everything was my responsibility, and it was just stupid. And it was just it was just very shoddily run. But you know, the other part of their business does just fine. So.
What about, I mean, so Art, you know, I love anytime we're doing some travel and it's touching on a local eatery. Now, what stands out to you as far as a local pie, local pizza, that's something that, you know, that stands out to you?
Definitely, I would say that as far as a local company, Home Slice, a local company that is people from Texas, I would say Home Slice for sure is definitely some of the better pizza in Austin for sure. I don't know if this company is from. Oh yeah, because I think it's McGuire Mormon or whatever restaurant group. But it's catty corner next to the best Italian restaurant in town that's called Sammy's. But there's a pizza place called Favorite Pizza right next to it. That is some of my favorite pizza in town for sure. And they have this Caesar salad that's just it's got crushed red pepper flakes that are all fried up on there. Yeah. It's really good. And the perfect amount of anchovy in there, you know, perfect amount of anchovy oil.
Anchovy.
Not too bad. That's what most Caesar salads, that's what Caesar dressing's got in it. It's anchovy paste type shit in
Really?
It. But it's really good. It's really good.
Where you been, Eric? Come on, brother.
What?
Anchovies?
Caesar salad, that's anchovy, man. Caesar dressing. Yeah. That's the essence of it. That's the anchovy.
That's the essence. That's the essence, brother.
I feel attacked, and I'm gonna look into this shit. But I had no idea it was anchovies. I mean, at what point, you know? Now, am I to say that people are stupid for saying anchovies on pizza? It's been fucking hiding under my nose all this time.
Nah, it's a little different. Caesar salad should not be confused with straight up anchovies.
Yeah, because I didn't know that for a long ass time either, dude. So it's fine. No. Because I have no idea, but I've always been suspicious of white sauces. I don't like ranch for some reason. It pulses the shit out of me. I'm oh, you know, but gravy.
That might be my thing. You know, it could be. You know, I'm not big on ranch. I'm not. You know, that type of shit. I'm not huge.
Am I my own here? I'm the only ranch guy in the chat. What
Dude,
the
I'm
hell?
usually outnumbered. I get you know, people hit me, pick me. I've been prodded with the cattle prod for not liking ranch. They're fucking jalapeno ranch.
No.
Texas people love ranch, dude. It's crazy. I swear to God, dude, people carry a little thing of it under their.
That's why there's cowboy hats. It makes sense for carrying ranch.
Yeah. Dude, it's so crazy. Over here, they call tequila sodas ranch waters, brother. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
What?
Yeah, dude, you never heard that? Hell yes, man. Hell yes. Dude, now that I've said it, you'll probably see some at a store somewhere canned, ready to go.
Yeah, we got that. We got ranch water around here.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Man, we got to pick. I got to pick up some of this here. I got to start culturing myself a little bit, getting some of this Texas shit.
Now you need to start a third separate thing, and it's all food, and you're just like, what's this? It'll be Texas. Dude, people love that. People love discovery, dude. They love to discover things. That's what the internet's all about, dude.
I mean, but honestly, like, not even being funny, but like, that's always been one of the cool things with like these interviews or different things. Is like not having shit that's on the beaten path, not having something that you're gonna pull up Google or something and it's gonna be like the top rated spot. Like somebody that's from around there and is like, yo, check this out. Like, this is the spot, or a food truck or some shit like that. Like, dude,
it's kind of hard to have hidden gems in Austin because of the internet. So it's really
so much.
It's really easy to find like the cool stuff. But that's why I think that sometimes it's nice to like, I live like really close to like all the cool local stuff. Like I live pretty close to downtown, so like that's awesome. I love it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I like to take refuge in a fucking chain restaurant, dog. Dude, I fucking go in there, really kick back.
Sometimes you got to eat good in the neighborhood. Okay.
Everyone's comfortable in a chain restaurant. They're really not pretentious. Dude, you go to Cheesecake Factory, you're like, I'm the fucking coolest guy ever. You're like, bring Willy Wonka out or whoever.
Everybody's like, oh man, who is this guy? I need to go and have a conversation here. Yeah, dude, I love that.
I just show up, like, I'm here for spaghetti, and then
Oh, dude, that is fucking unreal. Unreal.
Some great spaghetti. I'm not even joking. That's good ass spaghetti.
Cheesecake
hot.
Factory?
At Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, dude, their spaghetti is fire, dude.
Wow.
I promise. If you try it and you don't like it, I'll Venmo you for the spaghetti.
Damn. No shit.
I've had close. I've had like the chicken parm, which is close to spaghetti.
It's good. The chicken parm's alright. It's kind of like a shitload of food. It's like that's the thing about the Chicken Factory. You go there and you get like Nutty Professor portions. You're like if you ever want to feel like you're in fucking Tom and Jerry, that's what food is like at cheesecake. It's so much you just.
Why not?
And you're like, and now I'll take 10 pounds of cheesecake too.
Yeah, you're like, if they didn't let you just get a slice of it, they're like, sorry.
That's not happening. That's not happening. I mean, was that just something on the menu and you're like, hey man, spaghetti sounds good. This is where I'm at. Or was that something that somebody put you on that?
I just knew the spaghetti would be good because Cheesecake Factory is one of those places that's got such a big menu and it's a chain. So you've got to know that, all right, you're not going to order like Jamaican jerk chicken over rice at Cheesecake Factory because it's not a common thing. So you order, caveman food, hamburger.
Just the basic fucking, fuck.
Because otherwise you're going to be disappointed, if you get something too lofty. Like, don't go over there and get a steak. Like, what, what kind of dealing with Cisco grade beef there, Food purveyors.
Man. I feel like the last time I was there, I had chicken and waffles. Does that sound familiar? Would they have that there?
I know they have to have that there. That's
have you? I mean, is that like a staple? Is that something in Texas that anybody fucks with?
Good or not? Was it good? Did you have it?
It was amazing.
See, you never know.
It was great.
See, the knowledge of Cheesecake Factory goes far and wide. That thing's like this, like it's like a Lord of the Rings book.
It actually is. It actually is. You'll get lost in it. You'll be like, "Where's my bookmark?" I lost my bookmark. What was I going to order?
Yeah, dude. If I go to Cheesecake Factory stoned, it's like I get option paralysis. I get sweating. I get scared. It's wild in there. It's ridiculous.
And then you're like,
got to be like,
am I at Mardi Gras?
Yeah. What the hell? You're gonna have notes like in your phone where it's like, hey, okay, focus. These are the the 5 main food groups that like I'm normally okay with right now.
You can like default to like whatever the Drake order is. There's like that thing. There was like a whole viral thing that Drake really loves eating Cheesecake Factory, and then that someone posted like what he orders there, and you're like, that's fucking funny, like for someone to just have like just that big of a love for it. I go as a bit, like I go there because it's a good bit. You know what I mean? You're like, go to Cheesecake Factory, like that's a good bit. It's great. I don't know. I don't know if I've like I do enjoy the spaghetti, but I don't know if I really like going in there. But I think I've made myself like I've like
just knowing that that's good enough.
Ultraed myself into like loving.
I mean, while on the road, like, okay, so you mentioned, we were last talking, we were at, talking Impalers, and being in Japan, for instance, was there something that kind of, made its way across the table that you were a little nervous about, but blew your mind?
In Japan? That's something I was nervous about? Mm-hmm. Well, it is
food-wise,
kind of nervous.
I should say.
Oh, what's up?
Food-wise.
Oh, food-wise. The first time I went to Japan, I'm going to be honest with you, the fact that everything was like, had like, there was so much fish everywhere all the time in the cuisine. Uh-huh. Like, I think I was really hungover one day, and I wasn't expecting this type of like visceral reaction, but they were like, we're gonna go eat, and I was like, cool. I was like, I really hope it's not fish, because you kind of depend on like your host and driver person to like kind of like show you what's good, like what you want to spend, and like they kind of handle your show money there too, depending on who you're working with. So they try to find like, the cheapest, best option or whatever. And I was like, man, I really hope it's not fish. And first thing was like, I opened the door up because I'm super hungover, and I had been drinking Zima the entire night before. Because I found out, and I was like, yo, I never got to have one of those when that came out. But they still had it. So me and Osh got like wasted on Zima. And there's a funny story. I already lost one of my gloves, and I'm just like holding a Zima with my other hand with a glove, and my eyes are all crooked. But I was feeling terrible, dude, like so bad. And then like we walk into the restaurant that we're gonna eat at, and it's just like all conveyor belt sushi. Like I'm sure like super good stuff, but I was just like, fuck, and I like wanted to throw up. So I was like, I'll catch up with you guys. And I like ran to like a fast food place and had a burger because I just didn't want to smell fish anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Which the next time I went was a completely different thing, but at the time, because it was like a couple years between, but at the time I just like didn't have that great of a relationship with fish. You know what I mean? Like, smell just like when you're hungover is just so brutal. So that was one thing. Another thing is like people really like it, and I forget what it is, but it's like the squid bowls. It's not okonomiyaki. It's fuck. I don't know. They look like hush puppies, right?
Okay.
But they're filled with this little cream and squid, and so I ate one without knowing what it was because I was like, oh, cool, a little fried ball. I was like, I'm game, and I bit into it. Yeah, takoyaki. There we go. Juan Carlos with the but I bit into it, and it just had all this like mayonnaise style shit in it that got all of them fucking nuts. Like a fish smell, and I was like, dog, what the fuck is this? Like I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like if you're not expecting that, it's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like I was like insane. Like I felt fucking confused. I was just like, you know, I got it all over myself. I was like, this is great. This is awesome.
Oh my god!
It's one of those things that I really want to like because a lot of people like it, and it is cool. It's like, it's fucking squid with bonito flakes on top of it, and like sweet sour sauce kind of stuff. And
oh fuck, man!
Like if you're not expecting it, it's gonna fuck you up.
I can
fishy
imagine.
Puppy, like it just fucking shot everywhere. But that was, and then you learn as you go. It's really not like crazy. Like even if you don't know a lot about food, like I mean, it's all
right.
The only thing was when eating like just like grilled skewer kind of stuff, you would kind of ask like you're eating a piece of meat and you're like, oh, it tastes like beef, but you're like the texture is kind of weird, and you'll be like, hey, what is this? And they'll just be like. They'll just kind of like rub an area of their stomach and you're like, checks out. That's fine. That works. Like, that's, he didn't fear. I was like, all right, cool. It's fine.
Oh, man.
You're like being like, what is this? And they'd just be like, And you're like, okay, that's Japan has like so many legendary like hardcore punk bands and that have like legendary guitar players, you know, like Chelsea and just like all these just at the time for me were like heroes, you know. And I was just really nervous about like playing to their level as a band, you know, because you go to Japan and a lot of the bands are just they're super tight, they're efficient. Every member of the band is good at playing their instruments, you know. So you go over there with this like you gotta fucking you want to like do the very best that you can on stage, you know, like even though it's not a possibility, but you go over there and you're like, I'm gonna blow these guys out of the water, you know, like gotta have that like that kind of like team spirit, like kind of like we're here to do one thing, you know. So I was kind of mostly focused on that and Zima. That's just funny, dude. That's hilarious, dude. And, but also, I mean, record shopping in Japan is insane. I spent like a bunch of money I didn't have at the time. But dude, that's another thing. It's overwhelming because you're finding cool shit, you know, punk or not. Like you're just finding cool shit the entire time you're there, and it's super overwhelming.
Now, I mean,
really cool.
You mentioned like efficiency. Were there certain things that you were noticing? I mean, as far as like setup or breakdown, or somebody mentioning like, you know, their kind of preparation for getting ready for a show that, you know, has stuck with you ever since, you know, playing those shows?
Not so much, but I really liked how every venue had like a decent backline, like totally workable backlines, you know, like some venues will have a backline, but it's like totally just thrown together shit that no human could use, you know, and like straight up just like alien equipment. But in Japan, you know, like the worst thing you're gonna get stuck with, and I'm a fan of these amps, but they're not great for what we were doing. Is like one of those Roland jazz chorus combos. You know, you can do a lot with those, but that's like the worst thing you would ever get stuck with, and you can make it work. You know, they'll have two, even. You know, like so. That's something I really liked, and that was what was efficient. Is like everyone was just sharing stuff, and everyone had their gear set up behind your gear, ready to put it in front of your gear whenever they were done, or the band before was done. Like everything went really smooth and was really organized, and that's something that is impressive about Japan. It's fucking awesome. There's like really, and of course everyone's just super nice, really genuine. Yeah. Like Japan, if any band, if you're gonna tour anywhere, that's the fucking place. It's great. People are sick.
Damn. When you were mentioning that piece of gear was the Roland, is that an amp or is that like a pedal? What were you talking about?
Roland Jazz Chorus. It's like I think it's a fairly popular amplifier. Hold on, I'm gonna turn on a little light. It's getting dark.
Oh, okay.
It's like the Metallica clean is the jazz chorus. The Smith sound is like a jazz chorus.
It's an electric amp, and then I feel like people use it for some more unorthodox shit too, but I don't really know. It's meant to be. I thought it was meant to be like a keyboard amp mostly, but I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Oh, okay.
Like Drug Church is all jazz chorus.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
is a drummer asking, you know what I'm saying? You can just tell me to sit my ass down, and Jeremy's like, oh yeah, I fucking get it. You know? All right, dude. Drums is a
whole other monster, dude. I don't think I could ever deal with like the amount of like little nuts and bolts you got to be twisting all the time, dude. It's a literal rigmarole.
Pain in the dick. Honestly, like over the years, and cool, you know, like not to truly like gripe about it, but yeah, I wish that I would have, you know, somehow, maybe even still, you know, in 2024, I'm gonna get a little bit better at maybe a guitar or a bass, you know, something like that. Because, god damn it, drums. After all these years, still, what a gripe.
You should find the most obscure instrument that you could possibly play and just force it into a hardcore band and see what happens. Hey, dude, I've seen people win with left, but
yeah. Touche. Now, I mean, as far as like you guys having, kind of like this, with having the time going and doing shows and doing runs, going to Japan and whatnot, where does Criaturas, where does that come into play as far as, you getting involved with them?
Shit. That's kind of like, I think, because that band was just one of those bands that, like, okay, it was like, in chronological order, it was like, Desconocidos, and then Vaaska started while Desconocidos still existed. Desconocidos broke up, Vaaska's still going, I was also in Impalers, and then Criaturas, like, fucking came in there somehow, and I don't remember really how.
Okay.
So, Eddie, who's in Vaaska, wanted to write some different kind of stuff, and at the time he was dating Drew from Mujeres Podridas, and they wanted to do a band together, and she was going to sing, and he wanted to do more like the Comes style stuff, like more like fast Japanese shit. And then he was like, well, I want you to play guitar. And I was like, sure. And we got Chris Pfeffer from like bands like Severed Head of State, and he was in like J Church and a bunch of other bands. He's doing a ton of shit. Monster drummer. But we got him, and then Olsh actually he toured with us in Japan, and he's played with us a bunch of live shows. But I asked him to like play with me so we could do so we could like do solos at the same time.
Oh,
so we do harmonies.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so like if you see it, it's like most of the solos are doubled up, or a lot of them are doubled up to give it that like kind of like new wave of British heavy metal vibe, but it's just really fast, kind of Japanese style. So I don't really remember why that band started. I think it really was Eddie just being like, I want to start a new band, and I was like, I'm down. And then we did a European tour that was pretty long as well, and then we did Japan after Vaaska did. Like more recently, I think 2019 was the Criaturas one.
Okay.
Olsh joined us on that, and he also filled in for Forward playing drums in one night because their drummer was sick, and they asked every drummer at the show to learn a song, and of course he picked like the fucking hardest one and learned it in like crazy. But that was really insane. It's like to go to like for see your buddy like in Japan learning another band song, a band that you both really like, and then you're just like, well, look, he's in the band for right now. Those shows are great. Yeah, Japan's fucking awesome, man. Super fun.
Man, was that like over those different spans of time and over kind of like jumping a little bit and by years, was that something where you guys were finding familiars as far as getting a hold of this cat and maybe he couldn't help out, and or was it something each time was different people?
When it came to Japan, that was like, of course I had friends there, but when it came to like connects, that was always Eddie, because he's been like literally emailing and writing letters to like punks around the world since he was like a teenager. So like Eddie's been had corresponded with like people from like Death Side and Forward and stuff like that, like way before we had even started that band. So he was already pretty familiar, and they had come to America, for Chaos and Tejas and stuff. So that's kind of how that familiarity came to be between Texas and Japan. That became kind of like a big connection. And when it comes to like North Texas bands, like even like, so Chris Bonner from Frozen Soul was in some hardcore bands from North Texas that went to Japan numerous times and are widely loved over there with like the OG Japanese punks. So like there's always been like this kind of Texas and like Japan kind of punk scene.
Okay.
Like so we brought over Schizophrenia one time to do an East Coast tour. So that's cool. Like that's always really fun to know that like you could go there if you wanted and like know some people, like if you just wanted to go chill. There's a lot of really legendary places going on there, and they try to preserve it as much as they can. It's awesome.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, and just having the opportunity of being able to see that area of the world and having it being something where being able to go, like, it's incredible.
It's really cool. It's super sick, but it's also feels really familiar because you're doing it's like the exact same as touring America in a lot of ways. You're like in a van, you're like pretty much like tired the whole time because you're not sleeping well ever, and you're like eating weird stuff that you find off the side of the road. It's way more fun in Japan and way more rewarding. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And also Japan's roadside restaurants are head and shoulders above America's, and that's one of the leading issues that we have here in the great state. They're atrocious.
Now, is this cleanliness? Is this toiletries? What are we talking here? What are the main issues?
It's they got robot toilets, dude. They got the bidet. The door reaches the ceiling. That's a big plus. The door, ceiling and the ground, so you're actually in privacy.
Man.
It's like low lighting, like a lot of them are like very low lighting. The toilet cleans itself. I mean,
what a beautiful thing.
It's wonderful.
You mentioned the door, and truthfully, thinking of luxuries in life, having a nice, just full door, or at least, the seam that the crack isn't to where it's like head-on eye contact with the dude in the mirror washing his hands. Like, who the fuck did this?
Yeah. I think that's a well-known but unsung issue on tours is like during shows and other moments it's just like impossible to find suitable facilities. You know what I mean? Which leads to everyone's got those stories because it's just like you get in some situations out there. You're moving around all the time, eating stuff that strangers are giving you. Like, it's fucking insane. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we couldn't get everything, but we got you some pizzas from fucking dipshits or whatever. And it's always good, but you're like, fuck, I really shouldn't eat pizza right now because I just ate a fucking Slim Jim on the way.
Oh.
So then
oh man, dude, it's some of the small things in life that we can ask for. Shit,
just going on tour makes you really grateful for just things at home.
The small things.
Yeah, that's what life is about, Dude, happiness is choice, dude. It's small things, dude. You gotta some arrow edible passes for life, bro.
What now? Like your earliest memory, as far as Fugitive being introduced to you. Where are you hearing of this project initially?
Oh, when did I hear about it? When Blake asked me to be in the band.
Just right there. And did he have some stuff written and how did that whole thing go?
Last record written.
Yeah. Okay.
He already had it written before I feel like he even finished completing who he wanted to be in the band. I think he had already asked Andy and Lincoln and Seth. Obviously Seth for sure, and Lincoln. I'm sure he was writing with Lincoln, but I don't know when he picked Andy and me because he just was like, I really need someone that can split solos with me or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm your guy. But I don't really know how long he had that record finished before he asked me to do it.
Oh, okay.
I think he had maybe mentioned or I had heard maybe he was working on something new, but I didn't really know too much about it. And then he asked me and I was like, oh, okay, that's going to be the full thing. He's like, that's what it's called. Because I didn't know what the band name was going to be or anything. And then not very long after, because they had already been practicing without me before he asked me to be in the band. But then they had that Wrecking Ball show, and I think that was all pretty short notice. I think he asked me a month before the Wrecking Ball show, and then since I live in Austin and they live in Fort Worth, I had to go out to Fort Worth a few days before the show and actually practice with him. I think I went preliminarily one time before and then went back and then so that's the thing. I always go up and down to Fort Worth all the time, which is sick.
Which is
tiny vacation.
How far is that from you?
3 hours. Not so bad.
So, and I make mention, too, just out of cats where people sometimes don't think of these things where you're in a band and you're in the next town over, or you're different than even thinking of that aspect of traveling 3 hours, to get into practice or getting together with just the guys, the fools, having some fun, but that's a big drive.
Yeah, I always take this there's just like, I don't want to plug a company that doesn't give me money, but there's this company called Von Lane that has like really fancy buses, and it's like super sick, and you get a lot of snacks for free, and there's like no one ever on it, and it's like, I just take that because it takes exactly 3 hours, and it just puts me in downtown Fort Worth, and I'll usually get like a hotel room downtown Fort Worth and chill. I like if we're just flying out the next day, I'll just stay with one of them, you know. But if I'm there for a couple of days, I'll like make it a weekend, you know. Just hang out, go to the Winchester, smoke a cigar at the Leaf, you know. Get out there, dude. Downtown Fort Worth, it's never really that crowded. You can just go wherever you want. Just have a good time.
Dude, so sick. I mean, so like, and then you guys, I mean, pretty much like right out of the swing, just the band is announced. There's an EP out. There's music out. You guys are playing shows. So this was it the second show, Jeremy, that you said that you were at then?
Yeah, that was Psycho. So that was the second gig.
That was, I mean, like, how was that?
That was the Psycho Las Vegas gig was crazy because you're just kind of like, all right, this is our second show. We weren't even that. I feel like we weren't even that comfortable playing together yet. You know, like we had an innate tightness just because we've all been in a band or some bands like for a long time. So there's that foundation of tightness, but we hadn't really found our like groove yet. You know, so that was kind of crazy because it was really out of nowhere. It feels, you know, you're playing this big festival to a shitload of people like spilling out of this little area in that casino, and you're like, dude, I'm not even like really that familiar with these songs yet. You know, you're like, but you know, that changed pretty quick because we started like practicing more frequently, and we tried to do something like every month, every 2 weeks at least. You know, like we're kind of in and out of town a lot, which is really it's like a really funny schedule to have, especially when you tack on the travel from here to there. So it's a tricky schedule to maintain, but honestly, it's like I can't complain because it's like right now for a starting band, you know, for a band that's only been a band for like a year and a half, that position is amazing. That's super sick. You know, we haven't had to grind it out in the sprint or something, you know, like, so it's really fortunate, and it's kind of crazy, and we've been getting away with doing it, but that's, you know, that's largely because of, you know, like Blake's hard work, and we've all been around, and you know, it's kind of like one of those things. You put in enough. There's like the time effort spectrum chart, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering. So at that gig, at that Psycho set, I remember it being so packed, and I remember there just being like this buzz, like this energy, like it was just like, I mean, that weekend it was wild, right? Like Emperor played, Merciful Fate playing. Like all those bands are playing, and people were stoked for them. But truly, I remember when you guys were starting to rip, like it was like electric in there. Like, and I'm just wondering, like, as you guys being on stage, like, were you feeling that? Did you sense that? Like, what was the vibe on your guys' side of things?
It felt really good, but my buddies, well, once again, he's come up a lot in this, but Olsh and Chris Hansel, sorry, from Warthog. There's so many Chris's, you know, especially but Chris Hansel from Warthog and Olsh were like really close to my side of the stage, and it was kind of like, you know, you see your friend, and they're both very tall, so they're kind of a little bit over everyone else, and I was just kind of like, the whole time was just kind of like, so yeah, I could feel the room, but I was just mostly like, can't fuck up. And then I was like, it was like, joke, can't fuck up, we're done. And then I remember going back to the room so I could like go change to go get in the pool because it was like early as fuck, you know. And I remember Seth, our singer, like he was like, I'm going to the pool right after we finished playing. And there wasn't really anything to load out because they had all the stuff ready there, you know. So we just take our guitars and stuff back to the room. Seth, of course, doesn't have anything to take back to the room, so we go to meet him at the pool, and he's like already got like a margarita, and he's in a robe, and he's like already chilling by the pool, and I was like, how did you get down here so fucking that kind of sums up what that weekend it was like. It was like we just popped on stage for a second, and then just like we're just messing around the rest of the time. It was cool because it was like playing a show in a mall.
Yeah, it was real weird. Like I was like, there was like this one spot. There was like a pizza place across, and you just like eat a slice, and you would like be smashing pizza, and there's a band playing. It's like,
but there's that cool place across from that resort that was called the Pepper Mill.
Oh yeah, it's like the old school, like classic Vegas, like the
like part of Goodfellas in there.
Yeah, that place is dope.
I was like, yo, that's the place. So when I wish I would have gotten to see more film locations, but time is short.
Yeah.
Also,
did you have a favorite set that weekend? Did you have a favorite like band set, like something you saw that weekend?
Bar none. That was wild. I think I had got, because you know, like when you got your wrist, I don't know, for artists, like you got a wristband and it gave you 40% off of the dispensary that was behind the resort. So I like went and I bought like all these crazy joints, and I literally smoked probably like $300 worth of them just during the Merciful Fate set, and it was the sickest concert I've ever. They were so good. And then he was like, "We're gonna play a new song," and they played a new song, and it was really fucking good. And I was just like, "How do they do it?" Like, you know, most of the time, a band like that is like, "We're gonna play a new song," and you're like, "Fuck, man, you're gonna kill me." But it fucking rocked.
The whole thing was sick, and it was wild. My wife and I were walking, and all of a sudden, like Carrie King, like it's like we're like, "Oh, excuse us," and it's like Carrie King's just like chilling, watching. I was like, "This is some meta shit right now." Like I'm watching Carrie King watch Merciful Fate. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, that was a sick weekend.
A certain kind of prevalent figure in the metal scene, just 6 a.m. just still trying to gamble, like wasted, not even able to talk. I was like, that's what this fest is all about, you know? I feel like I played pretty tame compared to like a lot of what I saw going on. I was like, whoa, people are really like doing Vegas. Like, I was acting mostly just how I act in Austin, but some people went full Vegas, and I was impressed.
Oh man,
some wild individuals, dude. Crazy. People were throwing up everywhere, man.
It gets wild. It gets messy.
It's fucking. But that was awesome. I love chaotic shit like that. Normally, I guess I had kind of at first when I heard Psycho Las Vegas, the years prior, I was like thinking of like a rock and roll bowling type situation or whatever, you know, or punk rock bowling.
Yeah.
Like on that level of corniness. So I was like, man, what the fuck? And then I looked at the lineup. I was like, oh no, this is sick. And then went and I was like, this is amazing. I was like, this is not like what I thought it was going to be like at all, you know?
Was that the first year that they did that? Or at least whatever this was supposed to be? Or has this been around?
Years, because I know Power Trips played Psycho Las Vegas before.
Yeah.
Oh, really? No shit.
And they haven't done it since that year. They've been on a break since that year.
Yeah, they didn't do it last year because we were trying to go back, and then they told us that it wasn't going to happen that year. We were all super sad, so we went smoked some all.
No, that's. I mean, and now like from these initial like first shows, there's a constant build. I can imagine, right? I mean, like even from seeing clips that you guys are posting, like crowds, energy. I feel like it's a constant like momentum with you guys every time you're playing. That it's like, god damn.
It's super fortunate, and like that's kind of what makes those shows like a little more fun. Because when it comes to like DB and like the punk bands I've been in for fucking over a decade, like those shows I can be however, and I'll play it. Like I'll just go up there and I know what to do exactly, and I know like I wrote fucking half the songs or like a portion of the songs that I'm playing, at least in a couple of the bands, and it's like I know what's going on. But with Fugitive, it was this is stuff. I mean, I'm really comfortable with it now, but this is stuff I wasn't quite as used to playing like somebody else's style. Like I hadn't like learned somebody else's like guitar style and licks since I joined Impalers. So it's like it had been a while. So it was really cool to like kind of flex some muscles I hadn't been using in a while, you know. And that was kind of like my favorite thing about it. but it's really awesome to like see the crowd's reactions to, you know, just like our band. You know what I mean? Like, I do think that like it is a stage energy thing. I think we do bring a good vibe, a good stage presence and shit. But it doesn't feel like I'm just the type of guy like regular like I can't wrap my head around that shit. So like it's not happening. You know what I mean? Like that's like I totally have imposter syndrome, and I'm like I don't know. You know, I'm like fucking. I don't know. But I
just playing the guitar.
If I had written that EP, like I would definitely like not know at all why people like it. But since Blake wrote it, I'm like, well, he writes great riffs. I mean, that's why people love it. And I mean, and the riffs are great, you know. And the fellas,
sorry,
we're just hanging out.
Mm-hmm. So that makes me wonder, like you're saying, you know, you're kind of learning that new style, like, you know, taking on some of Blake's riffs and get them under your fingers and, you know, ripping some things. And like, was there anything in that process that like, cause I've noticed when I've like, yeah, I've learned somebody else's song or I've joined a new band, and it's not even always that it's like this, it's hard. It's just like, that's so different than how I think of it. Was there anything that when you jumped in there that you were like, man, like, what the hell are you doing? Or like, what, like, that is so weird. Or like just something that.
Not so much what are you doing, but how are you doing it that long kind of thing. Like there's some right hand stuff that I had never done in my life. You know what I mean? I'd never been in a thrash band. Of course, I've learned Metallica riffs and stuff, but it's at a level of someone that's done it every fucking day of their lives kind of thing. So I definitely did have to like, that was like, I did have to catch up when it came to that, like the chuggy, gallopy kind of like,
okay.
I'd never really spent time with that technique, you know? And I was, you know, at first I was like, you know, it's embarrassing. I'm not used to not knowing how to do something. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like someone being like, play over this. And I'm like, hey, sure. But that was really fun though. It feels good. It feels good to feel your chops improve and to learn a new skill. And it like just makes you a better rounded guitar player. And I think that's another big reason I really was excited to play in Fugitive, was because I didn't want to keep doing stuff that was just in my same wheelhouse or doing completely other, because I make a lot of like hip hop beats and stuff too. So like I didn't like, it's like I wanted it to be guitar related, but like improve upon myself, you know, like because it had been years I've just been grinding away, shredding on DB, you know, which is great. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fucking sick. But you know, after a while, you're like, I want to do something different, you know? And that was awesome. It was the perfect thing, and it's the most fun because I honestly listen to more metal than I do like punk at this point, you know.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna use that as a segue real quick, and cut me off if you need to, big guy. Sure. But like metal, like I think Eric had asked you about your 5 like maybe essential hardcore. I'm gonna hijack that shit. We're not talking 5 hardcore albums. I want to know 5. I'm a metal guy, like through and through. You ask anybody, like I've always been in that hardcore scene and doing shit like that, but like I'm a metal dude. So 5, like throw me, like what metal shit are you messing with? Like what are you getting into with metal?
I'm gonna answer that question this way because it's the best way to answer this question. So I'm gonna answer you this. I'm gonna flip the question too. You took his question, you made it yours, so I'm gonna go ahead and a little funky myself, you know. We're doing remix style stuff here. So I'll answer all those questions. Hardcore metal. So I'm gonna answer the best just breakdowns of all time.
Oh.
And it's this. Pantera Domination, Pantera Domination, Pantera, and you guessed it, Pantera Domination, baby. That's the greatest moment for me right now. And I know that's just like what my brain is saying to me at the moment. So I'm trying to answer it honestly, but that's all I can think about because I've just been on a kick lately. Just that breakdown itself, I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna fucking punch something. Like, I'm like, I want to fucking run through a wall and leave like a hole that's shaped like my body, you know?
Kool-Aid man it? You're gonna Kool-Aid man it?
Sick. God, dude, there's something, within, because I mean, you think of metal and you think of, maybe even with like the Metallica songs that are the famous, solos, or, just kind of the stuff that really rings true. But then you think of some of the Pantera stuff and the heaviest moments that possibly ever existed in metal. And it's so simple. It's a simple chug and a single bass pedal and a cymbal and snare. And you're just like,
he's doing this cymbals at the end that he just.
That's it. That's it.
The trick is that reverse snare delay, though.
And then they do a separate delay on the kick as well. And I only know that because I asked the sound guy, I asked Steve what the fuck was going on there between the kick and the snare exactly, and he like knew exactly, like I'd have to look at what he texted me exactly, like what type of reverb or what it's like it's like a gated delay, not a something, I don't know, whatever.
Oh shit!
But
no kidding.
That they're kind of like doing
triggering each other.
Yeah, it's like point counterpoint kind of stuff. You want to get right type business with Pantera drum. But yeah, Pantera is one of those things. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say they don't have a record that's good all the way through. Like, there's always moments on every record. There's a lot of good tracks, but I haven't listened to an entire Pantera record and not been like, that part's a little they were trying to get a little mainstream, and they had they had their influences from their more pop counterparts, and I think that they were really trying to make Pantera the biggest band in the world, so like I can see what they're trying, and for the time I'm sure it was groundbreaking, but there's some shit in their records that I can't stand behind, can't, but it's the greatest riffs of all time, and I think Dimebag was one of the tightest guitar players ever, and like, not only that, it's impossible to try to sound like he sounds.
You'll sound dumb. You'll sound stupid.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone play a solo the way he plays a solo, and I've tried. Like, I've spent a long time learning like a Pantera solo and being like, there's no way I can get it, even if I play it at the same speed, no matter how long I tried it. Like, something about the way he plays, the way he had his guitar set up, everything in general. Like, it's like there's no way to sound like him. Like, I'm sure there's some YouTube guy that gets close or whatever. He spent his entire life learning Dimebag stuff. Dude, they're out there, dude. There's more than one when it comes to Dimebag, dude.
Oh yeah.
Rightly so. Like, people want to figure out. It's like the fucking mystery of the pyramids. Like, what the fuck? Like,
how do you play this corny riff and make it sound sick as fuck?
Yeah, dude, it's just like, yeah, dude, come on. That's like a fucking jazz cat stripper song. You know what I mean? It's like the best thing you could ever do. But that was the thing about that. Really able to like encapsulate, like, they were like fucking modern Leonard Skinner at the time. They were like literally just, we're from fucking Arlington, and like, they're drinking whiskey constantly, like, it's fucking wild. Just like, but that was like kind of what Texas was like at the time. It's just like this really fast, unhealthy lifestyle. It's extremely volatile. That's like exactly what Pantera sounds like. And like, dude, like, Pantera sounds like fucking drunk driving, like you're drunk driving from your friend's house, trying to get back to your to have work.
Nailed it.
There's fireworks somewhere along the way.
Where do you find Fugitive 2024? How is the description going as far as anything that might be coming new, anything, for maybe even the Blast Furnace, standoff tracks to come? What would be the description that you would have for this if somebody was wondering? I love what you just put out there for Pantera, so that brings me here.
Fuck, man, I wish I could like bring it. Somebody commented on the Blast Furnace video, and it's unintelligible. Like, it makes no was trying to convey to us, and it was something along the lines of like, it was like I couldn't tell if he was talking about a car or a gun. And really fast, but then like talking about gun parts, and then like drinking, and then like at the end it just says blast furnace with an exclamation. It's really like a paragraph long description of like, it started with I just love to, and then something crazy fucking honky stuff that was done, and then like blast furnace, and I was like, I don't know what this guy said, but I fucking love it.
Hey,
but
there it is.
I do think it's, if I had to describe it in abstract terms, I would say that it sounds like fuck, man, I don't know.
I think I like the aspect of you saying
it would be like kind of just like greasy, definitely like greasy, kind of gory. It's kind of like a real greasy situation, some machines, you know, like
beautiful.
Like I don't know, like satanic Five Nights at Freddy's, but with cars, you know.
Five Nights at Fast and Furious, like that's what it's called. Five Nights at Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah,
that's what Fugitive is called now to me. That's all I can picture.
Yeah. Well, you could Five Nights at Furios as well, because there's a like Arno's element to it. Yeah.
There you go.
We love them.
There you go.
We love those guys.
Dude,
I love those guys. Those fellas.
So sick, man. I honestly, like, I'm so psyched on this. And like, one of the cool things, I mean, with these opportunities, with conversations, was looking into, you know, your other work and your other bands too. And it was like, that was something that was impressive to me. And I think it's cool that you're kind of talking about how thrash wasn't necessarily your wheelhouse. And like, looking back, like, different shit, I'm like, dude, this guy's like a DB dude. It's hardcore. Like, I'm not seeing a whole lot of thrash, you know, like, in, you know, as far as that. And so like, it's interesting to hear as far as playing.
Yeah. It's it's fun. I knew I could do it, so there wasn't like, I wasn't like that worried, but it was definitely weird for a little bit. I definitely had to like spend a little bit of time just kind of correcting like some punk things, you know, like kind of just like hand placement, things like that, little things like that. But if you're willing to just if you're willing to like not be comfortable for like mere moments, like you can figure so much shit out, you know what I mean? Like, you just have to like kind of be like, all right, I'm definitely doing something wrong, because it's never that. I mean, there's some stuff like you just physically can't do. It's like there's certain speeds I'm not physically going to be able to do, and most people can't, you know. But for most things, like if you're willing to just kind of like switch your technique around for certain things, and then you start to combine that comfort doing one thing with the shit you already know, and then that's how you get your own style, you know. Like if you stop learning like other little moves or hooks or styles of music, even, like, you're gonna just, which can work for you your whole life, honestly, but you can just be the same guitar guy forever, you know. But it's fun to do different stuff. Also, like, I feel like I want to see some younger cats do a long-lasting DB band, because especially in Austin right now, like, punk bands aren't making it past the demo. You know, they're like doing a demo, or maybe like an LP that comes out after they're even really active, or they'll do like a demo in a 7-inch and then they're done. They're like never really even a band for a year, and they don't even get to do like proper long tour or see like the fruits of their hard labor, you know. They'll like bust out like a cool demo with tons of potential, and then it's just like for one reason or another. And like, yeah, I kind of just like, I can't be the DB guy in this town anymore, you know. Tough, you know, like, I don't fucking know, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I have been talking with some people about starting another punk band, because I can't not do stuff, you know what I mean? But it'll definitely be pretty out of left field, and it'll just drop whenever it drops. I don't know, but it's got the money LP as well. But it's really hard to work with. Sharp lives in Michigan now. Mike Sharp lives in Michigan, so
okay.
That's far away.
Here we are. Where's Mike at? The east.
Fuck, man.
Let me guess. The east side.
I wish I could remember where he works, because you could go see him right after we.
Dude,
he's definitely somewhere right now. Probably near.
Right next door.
Yeah, maybe he's eating a fucking chili dog or whatever.
Is that what comes to mind when you think of Michigan, like chili dogs? You're like, these fuckers make chili dogs. I know.
Here's a second ago. I don't know if you guys have seen that show. It's
what is it?
Detroiters.
Oh yeah.
It's like a Robinson show.
He won't like it. I love it. Detroiters.
What the fuck does that mean?
I think you should leave, guy. You don't like him. You're like, oh, he's not funny.
Who?
He's funny. Tim Robinson.
The guy with the raccoon mask eyes and stuff. And he's got a little mouth.
I think you should leave.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
See,
I'm not a huge into it. Yeah,
no, you hate it.
You
hate it. You literally give me dirty looks when I say something about
it. Kevin is his dad. That's pretty cool.
Is Detroit, dude? All right, well, you know what I'm saying? We're done with cutting off. We're done with all the bullshit with the Instagram live. This has been absolutely awesome, though, Victor. We could not thank you enough for the time, man. This has been so sick being able to hear all the insights and all the great things that you got going on, man. And you mentioned maybe some new stuff coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely.
We want to say pretty soon.
Yeah,
out in the ether.
Some new stuff coming from all angles. I'm also helping a few bands complete their records here in the future, and you'll see them at some point. They'll materialize. So see what's up.
It's awesome.
Just try to, I want to send a message out to everybody. Just forget that you have other stuff to do and do more stuff.
Oh yeah.
No, we appreciate it, man. And like I say, lots of awesome stuff. Really cool. Just it's always kind of it's fun to be able to try and like dig into all the things that somebody's got going on. But when you have all the sick shit and the bands and the projects and shit that are going, it's like you try to fit that into an hour, and then we get on the topic of food or spaghetti.
Yeah, come back, dude. I can talk about spaghetti. Yeah, we won't get into spaghetti, man.
That's its own show.
Dude,
that's its own show.
Fuck spaghetti, dude. Italian favorite food. I love Mexican food. I'm Mexican, but Italian food is my favorite.
Pristine. No, dude, we greatly appreciate it. We'll have everything edited to where it's not this goofy block on block Tetris looking bullshit. And we'll get it up on YouTube here probably within like the next month or so. On Spotify for anybody who hasn't who chipped in a little bit late on. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for the time, and this has been absolutely sick. Major thumbs up.
I'm gonna go to
been a pleasure, Victor.
Yes. Nothing but a pleasure, boys. Hope to see you guys in person.
Yeah. You too, man.
Sure.
Take care.
Take it easy, Victor.
Have a good night.
Bye.